Okay, boss. In the last class, we've seen about creating DSO and the behind the architecture. What is it? What are the three tables? And how does it actually override the data? We've seen all this. Yeah. Now we have loaded some data, and I have some data in the active table, two records, and I have some change log records. Okay. Now what I want to do is, from this DSO, I would like to load into the next level cube. Okay. So I'll just create a cube. So I'm going to use the ODS as the template because I want same objects of ODS. I'm not taking cal month. Yeah. Okay. So now I've got a cube and I've got DSO. Now the thing is, how do I load data from this DSO to the cube? Simple. So first thing is identify which is my source object here. In this scenario, what is source here? DSO is the source, and what is the target? Cube. So connect both of them with the help of transformation. Now right click on the target object and say what? Create transformations. You want to load this cube from what? From a data source or from a DSO? DSO. Which DSO is Z2 underscore sales. And mapping is done. And then activate. Once done, just create DTP. Where for the DTP source is your, now this time not data source, what is this? DSO, and updating it to what? The cube. Activate and run the load. Okay, but see, as it is, DTP will not have any init, it will have only full and delta. First delta itself is considered as init. Okay, good. Before I run, I want to show you this. How many records do we have in the active table? How many? 2, yeah. How many entries in the change log? 6. And one more thing I want to show you is, you see this status, okay? It's all blank, okay? Now when you run the delta first time, first delta is considered as init. While loading from ODS to the next level target, when you do first load, which is init, it actually reads all the data from active tables. So how many records do we have in the active table? 2 records. So it just loads those 2 records. But when you do from second next load onwards, it is normal delta, right, which it takes from change log. Now how many records are loaded? 2 records. Now what I will do to show you the delta mechanism. Now once point to be noted is, once it is done, it will set up the data mart status as if these requests are already loaded to the cube. More data source data mart status. It will update this data mart status saying these requests have already been loaded to the cube. Let's say, let me load some new set of data to this DSO. This is how it is, right? Did we load with 9999? No, right? Only 5,000, 2,000. Okay, let's understand. This is, it is from all files. Huh? Okay. This is not my file. Desktop, someone deleted it. Okay, now I'm going to change this 5,000 to what? 7,000, and this I'm going to change it to 9,000. Okay, so when I load these records, will it go and overwrite these records? And when it overwrites, how many records will it form? Okay, now let me load this. Someone okay, boss. Now I'm going to load this file. Yeah. So I'm going to get a new request to the DSO. Yeah. Not yet activate. I'll activate this. See, first DTP load was like init, so it takes all the data from which table? Active table. Now activated. Okay. Now do we have this data mart status, which indicates what? This request data is not yet loaded to the next level queue. Yeah. You should see the active table being set as 7,000, 9,000 changed. And change log, will it have now how many records? 6 plus 4, how much now? 10. 4 records, because 2 was overwritten. So before image, after image, before image, you can see exactly what is those 4 records. Now for 513, if you go to right, do you find the activation request here? Copy this. In the change log, I don't want to see all the 10. I want to see only records of this activation request only. How many are there? 4. Okay, boss. So before is 5,000, after 7,000. Before is 2,500, after is 9,000. So now, if I want to load it to my cube by running DTP, now it is like normal delta, right? First load was like, look at this. Delta, it was like what? What is this? Init. But the next load would be normal delta. So delta ela process avutundi, from which table does it take? Another point. Okay. So when you load delta, it takes from change log table. So how does it take? And look at this. When run the DTP, first it goes to the manage of the DSO. Okay. Finds out those requests for which there is no data mart status. Now which one doesn't have data mart status? That indicates that this is not yet loaded to the queue. Okay, so it will catch hold of this 513, goes to the right, and catch hold of this, what is activation request, and extract only the records from the change log of this activation request only. So how many will get extracted now? 4. Okay. Let's see if I do this delta running in, and how many records does it fetch? How many records it is fetching? So it means it's fetching from which table? Change log table. Normally need active table, but delta it will be picking from change log table. So whenever you do delta, it goes to the ODS, finds out the request which does not have data mart status. For this request, it finds the corresponding activation request and picks the records from the change log of this activation request and loads it. So it is taken from which table? Change. So do you understand the importance of change log? Change log table is what used when you load data into next level targets with delta. Okay. When you load from ODS to queue, full or init, it takes from active table. But when you do delta, it takes from change log. So now if I go to my queue, I should find those. Now 4 records are updated as 2, because if the records are characteristics are same, it is aggregating it. Now I should see the value being same in the queue. Now for CN at East, what is that value I find? 2,500, 6,500, how much does it become? 900, 9,000, and 5,000 plus 2,000 becomes what? 7,000. Is it correct now? Matching to the DSO? Matching to the file? Yes. అందుకు చైన్లో బిఫోర్ ఇమేజ్ ఆఫ్టర్ ఇమేజ్ అట్లా పెట్టుకుని క్యూబ్లో కరెక్ట్ రిజల్ట్స్ పంపిస్తుంది. ఓకే బస్. సో దట్స్ హౌ ఈవెన్ ఇఫ్ ద సోర్స్ సిస్టమ్ డస్ నాట్ ప్రొవైడ్ యూ డెల్టా, వీ కెన్ యూస్ ఓడిఎస్ విచ్ విల్ ఓవర్ రైట్, and from there it can enable delta mechanism to the next level targets. So that's how we can use the standard DSO. Okay. So this is about data mart. Okay. Next one, you should understand how to delete data in the DSO. Data mart is done, and then you said there is something record mode, right? It can hold values like blank indicating what? After image, and X indicates what? Before image, A indicates additive, but you generally don't get this. You get as new image for new record, X for before image, and blank for after image. That's how you get it. And if you want, you can see them here while trying to see any of these tables. And now it has updated this data mart status now. Any of this and say for you get to see all the values. Okay. And one more point what I want to say, let's say you know about delta bit is working. Let's say the delta load which is going from ODS to Q has failed. How do you fix it? See, when I go, let's say I go to the Q, this is fail line in the was. Let's say it was for some reason it has failed, it is red. So let's say I delete this request. When I delete this request in the queue, when I go to the DSO, it will automatically reset the status back. Load and పెట్టుకుంది కదా, 3 పెట్టుకోవాలి automatically. In 3 point text it was never happening like this. Once you delete the request in the queue, we were explicitly going into ODS, delete the data mart status, then loading in. Now what happens when I delete the request, automatically it resets the data mart status of the request. Now what is only about deleting and then what? Running the delta again. Again it takes us 4 records. Does it take the same 4 records again? So if a delta load fails, if I rerun the delta, am I missing the delta? No. Why? As soon as I delete the bad request, it resets the data mart status again. When I load, it sets it back. That's how delta can be handled between targets, data mart. Yeah. Clear? Okay. Next we'll have to see about how do we delete data in the DSOs. How to delete data in the DSO, because deleting data in the queue is very simple, straightforward. Say, did I tell you about how to delete data in the queue? No? Happen the simple. Load delete depends on delete zero time. Okay. Deletion of data in info queue. Or can I save this file?